Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of One of One, a PLLRS Podcast. Thank you everyone for tuning in, everyone who's been watching, supporting. We appreciate it. Today I'm excited to have this conversation with someone that I not only respect as a creative and a producer, but as an entrepreneur, Lewis.
Hey, man, brother.
I appreciate you pulling up, man.
Oh, no, man. Thank you for having me.
First of all, congratulations are in order. Since we last spoke, you and your wife Naturi have produced this award-winning movie that was, and it was dope for me to see because I'm actually Haitian, and this was shot in Haiti.
Yeah.
The Tropic Sun and His Eyes.
Yeah, what part of Haiti are you from?
So my mom is from Port-au-Prince and my dad is from Fort Liberty.
Okay, got you. Yeah, we shot this in Oak Cop.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and the north side of Haiti. But the director, Elise Jr. St. Preux, he is American Haitian from Miami, Florida, the 305. But it's a great story, man. It's a great story. The Tropic Sun in His Eyes. We just premiered at Tribeca. We had sold out screenings in less than a week. Tribeca actually had to give us another screening, which is a lot of time unheard of, but they gave us a fourth screening because we did sell out so fast. So it's been getting a lot of momentum, a lot of good reviews. Yeah, man, I'm just very happy to see the world see the world being able to see Haiti in a way that it's not depicted in the U.S. most times. Because even growing up from Atlanta to South Florida, like we used to hear, when I first started going down to Florida as a kid, we used to hear like, don't go mess with the Haitians. Like, don't date no girl from Haiti. You know what I mean? Like, they gonna do something to you. You know what I mean? And so that's a narrative that started even, years ago. And I'm like, why though? Like, why is this narrative that way? And being able to depict and see Haiti for what it is, the beauty of the culture, the people, the beautiful people, the spirit of the island, the spirit of the people, and just, it's just a beautiful place. The music, it's just great. And I'm glad to be a part of the team who gets to bring this to the world.
So why this story and why Haiti? I know you. I'm sure you guys have reviewed a lot of projects. Also, congratulations are in order because I had checked out the new Starz series, The Nowhere Man.
Oh, thank you.
Fire.
Thank you.
So I'm sure there's a lot of projects you guys could work on. I actually want to get to the show in a second, but why this story in particular?
I think this story in particular, for me personally, first off, it was the director. Like, we met before even hearing the story, seeing his passion, seeing how he showed up in the world, seeing his tenacity, and seeing how he actually followed through and really said something and did something about it. Because a lot of people in our communities, not Haitian community, but Black communities altogether, a lot of people have creative ideas, but they don't finish them. And that's the problem with our community a lot of times. We don't finish things. We got to make sure that we execute properly. And when I found out and started seeing how well he executed, I was like, man, that's somebody I can align with. And then when I got the story overall, to me, it's a beautiful story because it's a journey coming back home. And I feel like every young Black man or every young man, we go off to college or we go off trying to be an adult and trying to do these things. And it is a time that we make that journey back home, right? And sometimes we didn't leave in the best way, or during that journey, we may have problems with our parents or disagreements because we're young and trying to learn life and they want us to do it their way and we try to do it our way. So I thought it was a universal story that really can impact a lot of people, and it's part of my truth as well. I remember going off to college at Florida State and, not talking to my dad for a little while, right? And my dad, that's like one of my greatest supporters in my life. And but me and him had a falling out while I was in college. and I didn't talk to him for a little while. But I remember that journey coming back home, the first time I knew I was going to his house again. I'm like, let me go talk to my dad because I miss him. And I knew how that felt, and I knew the emotions that I had with him. And it wasn't for years and years, but he was still my guy. And so seeing this and knowing this journey of Stevenson John, who plays the lead character, coming back to Haiti after being gone for years and going to, try to see his dad because he heard his dad is, not doing well. That's a true feeling, and I know all the emotions you could feel by feeling like you have this thing built up in your head over time, like, well, my dad may not like me, or my family may hate me for leaving, or, like all these things for going to America and coming back. But they're all like the devil really playing mind games with you because your family loves you. You know what I mean? You came from them. You're a part of them, and they want to see you do well. But sometimes we build up this, these things or false narratives that we may have. And it's good to see the journey and spiritual journey that this character goes on, going back to see his father.
That's dope. Like I feel like there's even in the storytelling in The Man from Nowhere, there is like a lot of heart in that.
Yeah.
Elite violence.
Yeah.
Like the action is fire.
Hey man, it's not an action show. Show me an action show on TV right now that can stand up to what we did with the Nowhere Man. It's not one. It's not an action show that came out in the last year or so. I mean, it's been movies, but a TV show with that much action. The Nowhere Man was shot beautifully. Man, we are super proud of the Nowhere Man. That hit #1 on Starz as well. And it's just great to see, like, coming out the gate with Take Two Entertainment with my wife, Naturi Naughton-Lewis. We've been able to produce and be a part of some really great, impactful things. And funny enough, 2 of the projects that we just talked about now are both shot outside of the United States. Yeah. Right? And so it's like using our voice, using our community, using our relationships to bring stories from different places to America and showing how the world can actually look on different vantage points and viewpoints and open up, both sides, make the world even smaller than it is, really.
Yeah. The storytelling, like, the way you guys pick the projects, the way your wife is able to incorporate, it's funny because there's like a lot of like, connection points me from the outside looking in.
Right.
It's dope. When we originally did the first Pillars, I remember her talking about like her journey and her experience in terms of her being an actress on Power and her wanting to direct and her wanting to have these experiences, and you just like, and it sounds obvious, and it's probably like it's easier said than done, but you're like, yo, let's do our own thing,
right?
And then like her being able to go in there now and being able to act, I think maybe that happened for a reason. Because maybe if you did direct or certain doors were open, maybe you wouldn't have gone into the production company.
Yeah, I think everything happens for a reason. I think every disagreement, every disappointment, every obstacle is rerouting you and recalibrating your story. And so I think with all that, that showed her like, okay, now we created this with Take Two. Like, I could actually produce great projects. I could actually direct great projects, with her award-winning short film, 333. And she's won, a lot of directors awards for that. And she shot, other things. Like, she has another short coming out next month called Born Captive. And so, it's a lot of things that she's shooting, and she's getting more opportunities. And, without the disappointment and all the stuff she had before, it wouldn't feel as sweet as it does now. You know what I mean? It's like a sweet, like kind of savory, like, oh, okay, we actually can do this on our own, and I actually can do this as a person. Because I mean, she's had that drive since a kid. Everything she said she wanted to do, she set out and did. You know what I mean? And so for me, it's like, as her husband, I am tasked with how do I continue to make sure my wife gets and be able to accomplish the things she wants. Because that's what happened when you get married. You take it from her dad and mother having to do it as a kid to like, this is part of your responsibility as an adult to make sure like your wife gets to do all the things that she sets out to do. And I think my wife does that for me as well.
So last time we talked, you actually were throwing me like, relationship insights and advice and things like that. We ain't gotta get into all that. But like I think the thing I was most curious about, even when I was talking to Keith about like sitting down with you two when we did the first pillars, I'm like, I don't know how does that work? Like, you're business partners, but you're married. Like, where's the line? Like, so when you feel like, I feel like maybe she's being untreated in this situation, who's pulling up? To the business partner, to the manager, or to the husband?
No, I think it's all of them. I think it's a mixture. I have great discernment of, how to position her or position us or position the situation. I'm very patient and I'm very strategic about how we come at things, because we want to make sure that we come at things the right way, because, words do matter. I don't know who came with words don't hurt. Yeah. You know what I mean? Everything hurts. You know what I mean? But, you have to come at things the right way. And I feel like when I do see those moments, it's like, yes, I get to let her emotionally beat me up or whatever with all her words, and I don't like this, da da da, and goes off. And I take her feeling and take her words, and then I take them in, and then I will spit it back out in a way that won't disturb the nature of the other person or the people that we're doing with, but get her same feelings across. Gotcha. And her passion across the way that it needs to be getting across, that people can digest it, because being an artist, going through what she's been through since 15 years old, she does have some resentment probably there, you know what I mean, certain things, or when people overlook her or different things. So, I just make sure that it's presented and discussed in a way that everybody can digest it and we still get the best outcome.
I look at her career and I'm like, if anything, it's like, some people like try to manufacture adversity to kind of push themselves.
Right.
Like, I can't imagine, or I don't, to my recollection, I don't know a lot of careers where someone was in music and they did it to like the almost highest level you could do it,
right,
and then walked away from that industry or took a step away from that industry and then got into another industry, entertainment, also engaged at some of the highest levels of that, and now pursuing production or whatever. I mean, I could understand like the being jaded or being overlooked, but like I think the fruit of that is amazing.
Yeah,
and to have a partner like you who's like so supportive and sort of can take that and be like, okay, well, let's navigate it this way. The business side and the entrepreneurial side and all of that, I'm sure, plays a big role in how you guys engage, where I guess your careers are going.
Yeah, I think that does, because it's like me being in business for so long, I've been able to see so many things, being able to, be an intern at So Def as a kid, and then being able to actually earn a job and working for different labels, and having my career and the ebbs and flows of it. So I've been able to be in different industries in business, from restaurateur from working at Comcast, or I was even a plumber at one time. I got a plumbing license. So it's like, but everything I've ever done, I've always like wanted to know the business behind it. right? How does this work? How do you accomplish these things? How do you break this down? How do you do contracts? And so with me and my wife, it's a lot of like, I know a lot about the business. It's still a lot I got to learn because a lot of times I did learn a lot on my own. But I'm able to sit her down and say, hey, these are how the functionality of things. These are how, you structure these things. This is how we do these things. And then she comes in with her like passion and from her being an artist and the things she knows from business. And she's able to like say, all right, this is how you negotiate this. This is how we get this, or this is what we need from these things. Because some of the points that I may know on the business side, she knows from the artist side. And some of these things in production, because she's been able to be a part of some of these contracts. She's like, all right, no, don't forget about this. Don't forget about this. Make sure we add this. And so it works in a good ebb and flow of like, us working off each other.
So right now, I mean, you guys are on a run right now with the projects you're putting together. Is she even still interested in engaging in other projects? Because I know she was or is part of the Power universe. I know they have another project coming out.
Right.
Is that even still a interest of hers or something she desires to engage in? And as her partner, like, what's your role in helping her navigate those decisions?
And so you're speaking more so in the acting world, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, that's her love. You know what I mean? I think her first love is singing. You know what I mean? So she's so interested into finding a way to share her voice with the world. And so, I think she wanted to find avenues for that. She is hurt by the music industry. And she wants to figure out a way to maybe use her voice in different platforms. So it may be singing in a movie or singing on stage or just different things like that. So that's one of the things. But in acting itself, I think she's always ready to take another role, right? She always is looking for what's the next thing that she can do to diversify her portfolio per se, and her career. And so she is always interested in like making sure she gets the best roles and gets the things that she wants to do. The time that we are in the industry, it's not a lot of opportunities. It's not a lot of opportunities. So we are in a time where you do have to create the opportunities. So now it's about like, how can we create different roles for her, right? With the things that we're producing and putting together, how can we create more opportunities for her? And how can we uplift other people as well while we're creating for her? And then when the roles do come in, how do we discern, all right, hey, is this for you? Is this not for you? Where does this take your career if you do this? And we have those conversations, and she's very spiritual, and she prays on a lot of things, and she pray on it. And if it aligns with where she wants her brand to go, she accept it, and we talk about it and we pray over it together as a couple. And, we make those decisions, where she want to go next, and we go for it.
With your background in music, and she can sing.
Yeah, she could sing.
She could sing. Like I don't know anything. I know enough about the industry. I'm not like in it like that. So I'm sure there's complications or whatever there. But I'm sure like you guys could probably, with the resources you have, like put an album together
we could. But for me, I always tell her that I never want to be the one pushing her to do like do music, because it's a tender thing for her. It's a sore spot. I would suggest things and see if she goes with the suggestion. And that's how I would always know when she's ready to do it. Because if I suggest something and she'll be like, I want to do this, then I'll be like, okay, all right, let's do it. And then I see if she make the move. If she don't make no moves towards it,
you don't push.
It's no reason, because I don't want something more than she does. And it's for her, because it's not my talent. I don't know all the underlying things that happen in her past in that way. So I try to, lay out different things or lay out different opportunities that may happen. And if I see her click in on it, we'll move forward. If I see her resistance, or it's not a real thing for her. I'm like, all right, she's not focused here, so let's not push here, right? Let's push where she's focused on, because you want it to be joyful. You know, if you going back to something that kind of hurt you, like singing never hurt her, but the business of singing, you know what I mean, that hurt her a lot. And so I try to be careful, you know, put on mittens and make sure, you know what I mean, I handle it with care.
Can imagine, because like for a lot of that to happen and then also happen so publicly, I can imagine
Exactly.
I was saying last time, even when we were having a conversation before we had shot pillars before, just talking to the two of you and watching the dynamic, I was like, y'all should do something, like put a book together or have a show. Because I'm like, there's no way this is just y'all dynamics 24/7.
Right. No,
because you're very gentle and like intentional, and I'm just watching like just you managing everything around her, and like just like you were saying, I was just like you gotta give advice, just like how are you guys figuring this out?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think, you know, we do have some children books that we came up together with during the pandemic that we really want to develop and get done. I think, you know, with working together as production, you know, that's another love language that we get to do together, and, you know, raising our kids together. And we make sure we're intentional with our time and making sure we have our date nights every week and spend time together. But, you know, I think we want to do more together, you know what I mean? But
like a reality show or something.
Yeah, I mean, we've been asked to do reality shows. You know, we've been asked to do a few reality shows together, but they have to align with where we're going, brand wise, as well, right? And then I'm very careful about, you know, what's our next brand opportunity, and what's the brand for the family, and what's, you know, her brand. And how do we keep going up with the brand, and not like doing something that can deter the brand or put negative things on it, or, you know, shape it in a way that, you know, wouldn't look good for our kids or our, you know, when they come up and seeing different things. So, you know, I'm very, you know, intentional and particular about what we do.
Like, just like the way she would talk to you and like talk about you when we were doing the interview, and just the way you move, like with a certain amount of integrity, I could definitely see that being a book or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if I mean, she is working on a book right now about her life and, you know, her pivots of life, called Power of the Pivot. And so, you know, all the time she's had to pivot in life, and, you know, the struggles and the strength that it took to do those things. She's working on that. I'm working on a separate book called The 1 Year Rule.
I remember you talking about that.
About the 1 year rule, which just went viral the other day, and people was like going, you know, it was like a million, like,
you don't hear that from dudes a lot though.
I'm like, but my whole thing about that is that why people don't like when men are intentional about dating or intentional about the time. Everybody think if a man is intentional, it has to be a con.
That's what I was going to say. I think it's so unheard of. It sounds like it's a trick or a ploy or something like that.
Why, if a man is aligned with God and himself, does it has to be a ploy to get something? Like, what's the getting? I never understood what's the getting, because the biggest thing you can get is yourself and your alignment with God, right? And then I see a lot of comments that say, oh, you know, but what if they had sex? Or is it just a ploy to just get all the relationship, what they say, the relationship...
like the benefits?
The relationship benefits without the actual relationship.
Yeah.
But I always looked at it as, you don't actually need to get relationship benefits. The biggest relationship you need to have is with God. And then the biggest thing after that is like having great friendship, right? That's the best relationship you can have. It can't be about sex, because sex dies off at a point of life when you know, be in a relationship for so long, when you get older, you stop having sex a lot. You know what I mean? Like, people 70 years old and not having sex a lot. People are like 60, they stop having sex. Like, so are y'all actually friends? You know what I mean? Can you uplift each other? Can you like go do things that's fun together?
I don't know too. Like I might have to figure that out. Like,
yeah, I'm just saying, like, you can't lead with that's the thing that's gonna hold a relationship together. And
of course you gotta like the person.
Yeah,
like I mean, like after,
but you actually got you can't just like the person. To be with a person for the rest of your life, y'all have to have friendship. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you just are attracted to a person, or you just sexually attracted to a person, and y'all like each other, liking each other is not enough to keep a relationship going for 40 years. And you got to be way more invested in that. You know what I mean? You got to be invested on all different cylinders. And so I just, want people to know, like, sex isn't the end all be all. And you can't, like, put so much weight on the pressures of having sex. You need to put more weight and pressure on making sure a person shows up for you the way you need to show up for them, and how y'all align to go win y'all championship together.
I'm copping the book whenever you guys figure that.
Most definitely.
So, and just like, because I want to move on from that part, because I definitely want to get into the music industry stuff. Is there something coming up in terms of like the whole Power Universe thing? Is she reprising like the whole Tasha character, or is that like? Well,
Tasha, Tasha's never dead. You know what I mean? Tasha has never died, and she was always the linchpin in the
show. I feel like she was
in the show, but in the organization of the show, right? Because from my understanding, as Tasha, she was the one who was always doing the finances, right? Yeah. She was the brain about how to make the money move and how to, make sure that things are covered the right way, so they can have large lump sums of cash and be able to still live legally, right? Without any scrutiny from the law or anything like that, right? And so for me, as the character of Tasha, which is portrayed by my wife, Naturi, I see Tasha as being a vital part of whatever, the Power Universe is or becomes, when everything comes back together, with whatever the version they just released, because I just seen the deadline about it, with Michael Rainey and Joseph Shakur. I feel like, Tasha should be in there, in some way, helping whatever the organization they're rebuilding or whatever they may build. Course, yeah. I feel like she should be there in some way helping.
She's the brains.
Yeah, she should, because she's the brain. She was the one who was, still making sure Tariq's character did the right things with the money and worked it out. She was the one who, was still making sure Tommy never had to think about how the money goes. You know what I'm saying?
I remember that.
So I think it should be, maybe come back into a triangle effect where, she does run, the
way they had the setup, and like now Michael Rainey's the new Ghost.
Right. Or however that may be. You know what I mean? They say
I feel like she was the heart of the story.
Yeah.
Because I think the thing that grabbed people wasn't necessarily just a drug dealer element.
Right.
But it was the love triangle. I remember having debates with people about like, well, would you stay with Tasha or would you go with Angela or whatever, like the back and forth. I think that was the heart of the story.
Yeah, I think that was part of the heart of the story. Do you stay with the person who was down with you from the beginning and started your uprising career together? Or would you try to go with the long lost love that you had, that moved away at a young age? Would you, go try to give everything you have now and go back to that?
Got you.
I think, that was part of the heart of the story.
So like a little Tasha never pops out when you just in the crib and she flip on you.
I mean, Tasha's always in there somewhere. She can always get, you know, it can go 0 to 100 real quick. You know, she'll do her Tasha walk, I hear them heels coming in the house, and I'm like, oh Lord, what's going on now? You know, and so she can always have that in her because, you know, she has that in her to play the character of Tasha. So that's already built inside of her anyway.
So with Take Two Productions and like, you know, like for this budding company, what you guys have accomplished so far is like really impressive. Do you feel like you guys would dip into or have like some type of foray into music because you have a music background? You were part of So So Def during like the heyday of not only So So Def, but what a lot of people would consider the heyday of the music industry.
Right. I mean, to this day, like, I still work in music, you know, with Brett Gray, who is playing Michael on MJ right now. We're working on his next project and working on his tour for his next project when that comes out. And I still work with Parlay and the Franchise Boys and Jaquan. Which we had the Shabuzi record that went #1 for over 21 weeks on Billboard.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And that became the all-time most leading song on Billboard history. You know, so I'm still avidly, you know, doing things in music. I think with my wife, it all depends on, you know, how she's feeling. It's something I want to do with her. I've been telling her she needs to do, and I think that we're going to do it this month, and you know, see how that goes for her. But you know, in music itself, or putting out an album, I'm not sure. She has some great records though. She has some really great records that she's done with Troy Taylor and some other producers that she's worked with. But I think the musical aspect right now, if we do anything right now, it would be more of her maybe getting back on stage in some kind of way, because we did produce Duke and Roya last summer, which was a really great off-Broadway show that we produced together here in New York City with John Legend and Get Lifted and Kerry Washington and Pilar, her partner. And so, you know, I think it would be probably do something on stage or even creating a musical or a musical ensemble that we can make a movie out of.
That's actually dope. As soon as you said musical, I was like, and depending on which way you want to go with that, IP is a big thing. You could always
like a musical ensemble or even animation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
that would be dope too.
Yeah, I think that would be really dope. Like a lot of people don't know, my wife is Luna from the Moona on Doc McStuffins.
Really?
Yeah. Like, so she likes animation. She does animation, you know, and so a lot of people don't know that's her.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, on Doc McStuffins. So, you know, so it's a lot of ways to do music without having her do an album. And letting her still be involved in that way.
But like, I mean, also, I think from the point of view of she did have these negative experiences with the music industry. What if, like, would you guys ever consider like maybe signing talent and like maybe doing things differently, since you kind of know how treacherous the industry could be? Or bringing on outside talent and maybe having her be more so in like a mentor capacity?
I think I use her that way right now with my company, Owners District, my management company, because I already have talent. I try not to find talent at all. You know, it's an alignment of life. So, you know, the talent I work with is, you know, they're near and dear to me. Like I love all of them, from Brett to Jaquan to Parlay. I love them all because we have real life relationships. And, you know, with just going out to find talent just because, I don't really, that doesn't fit my aesthetic, you know, because I'm not trying to be a talent manager. Gotcha. I like to help people accomplish things that they're set out to do or want to do, but it has to align with the brand of where I'm at in life and where they're going. And I'm not in a place to like raise an artist from the beginning like a child, because I have little children right now and I want to raise them, and it's a lot of work to raise an artist from the beginning. But if it's an artist that may need help or assistance, and my wife can mentor them in some kind of way, because she does mentor the artists I do work with. They do have conversations. I think that's fine, but not just going out to look for talent and things like that. I don't think that's in our wheelhouse right now.
So the background you have in music, you being at So Def at again this heyday of music, when you look back at that time, what do you feel made the music industry then that we don't have right now, or that we lost at this point?
I think right now it's a little more. I feel like then it was so much harder, right? I worked at So Def for 3 years interning, and didn't get a paycheck, right? It was hard for me to get into the system, or even like getting an opportunity, right? I think today, a lot of things are coming a lot easier. You can go home, you can record, you can grab a mic, record, and you can put it out the same day. So I think it's less intentionality about the stuff that people are putting out. I think being able to see, Jermaine Dupri put together projects that took a lot of time, a lot of structure, a lot of like talent, and just different things around it, and him being very particular about the stories he was telling, and how to, because he was part of a whole culture of things, in Atlanta. Like he's to me, he's like the first one I've known.
Super underrated too.
Yeah, super underrated. I feel like he's probably the best of our generation of all time. I mean, in hit wise and record wise, just the numbers, he's probably the one out of my life, and then seeing like other people processes, like even my first cousin is Sean Garrett, right? And he's one of the greatest writers of all time as well. And seeing his process is totally different. He likes to just talk, right? He likes to sit down, talk to an artist for a long time, and then he comes up with the story they're telling, right? Everybody got different processes, and I think back then it was more intentionality put on the story you're telling, the branding and things like that. I think now people or artists are just going so fast that just want to like throw so many things out to see what sticks. And that has changed a lot, I really think that we are getting into a resurgence of like caring more. That's why people are liking, tangible things. We're going back to VHSs and DVDs and like CDs, because people want things that can last forever. And a lot of times with just putting your music on platforms, it's so much music in the world because so many people can put it out that a lot of things are getting lost unless you have the big backing. And so people like the storytelling of things again. I feel like we're going back into that where people can have tangible goods.
That's true. My daughter asked me to buy her a record the other day. She doesn't even have a record player.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like people want things that they can hold on to now. You know what I mean? We're losing a lot of connection in the world. We're losing a lot of connection, and it's a lot of the microwave community, where everything happens so fast that you don't even get to smell it first. I know like my generation and the generation before us, we come from a time where like if they cook Sunday dinner, it started all the way in the morning. And you'll smell that dinner every time you run in the house. You're like, oh my God, this is smelling good, like, and you were so prepared and hungry by the time the end of the night came, and you like everything came together and it came together right. Now it's like they're microwaving stuff so fast, it smells like plastic and it doesn't even smell like food, right? Because you're like, oh, it just took 2 minutes. Whoop, I'm getting it. And that's how a lot of people are trying to do their careers and their life. And I think we have to get back to the actual, like really finding the right ingredients, putting things together the right way, and letting things marinate and take time to actually get the right results again.
I going back to JD, and I wondered your take on this. I remember when they were having the conversation about him doing the verses with Diddy like a while back, and so many people were like, "Oh, nah, Diddy got it," and I was like, "Are y'all crazy? Do y'all not?
Yeah.
Do you not understand who?
No.
Why do you think it is that he's so underrated or people don't?
No. Diddy had great hits, but JD has been consistent. And it's funny because I feel like both of them came from arts because both of them were dancers. Because JD was a dancer. You know, he just had a viral video that went viral for dancing. But
I didn't even know he was a dancer.
Yeah, but he was a dancer. You know, but he's an all-time creative. You know, and I think that people don't remember because he started so young and he started before so many people, and because Atlanta had to fight to get into the conversation of things, that by the time people started looking for JD for hip hop, you got to think he had Crisscross, right? People don't even remember that, right? Like, and he found them at Greenbrier Mall. So he's always had the ear, he's always had the eye, he's always been able to, you know, take great talent and put his talent to it and make things explode. I mean, he just had another with Division. He just had another great record that just came out. Like, he's still avidly and consistently putting out records over this time. I don't even know if anybody else has been doing it as long as him that still are creating like #1 hits to this day. And so if that versus would have happened, it would have exposed Diddy. It would have exposed him because JD's catalog is just so vast and great.
I don't think people know. Like, I think I would put JD in the same conversation as like a Teddy Riley or a Babyface.
You have to. I mean, what? I mean, you have to. People don't realize that though, because he just didn't do hip hop. JD did R&B. He can do pop. He can do so many different things. And he has done those things, and people don't really give him the recognition that he probably deserved. And I think sometimes it's because, you know, the business of he didn't have a mentor per se. And I think a lot of people out of Atlanta didn't have real mentors. We had to really figure out things in our own way, because hip hop wasn't started in Atlanta, right? It was started in New York, right? And everything either went New York or LA. And those were the big structures. Those were the big companies. Those were where you had the CEOs and all the people growing these companies. So when the smaller brands and smaller labels came up here, they were able to see, you know what I mean? They were able to see what a business looked like, see how big companies turn into big companies. In Atlanta, we weren't able to really have that insight. We just knew we have the talent and can create a lot of things. And I think sometimes we get overlooked on the business aspect of things because we were never able to create big, large companies that was a structure for the entire, you know, city.
I would say, and it's like it's funny because like I'm from up north. I'm from Jersey. Spent a lot of time in New York. If people were to like categorize or put me in like a box, it would be obviously like from up here. So I like, if I'm sitting down and I'm listening to music, yeah, I'm listening to like Jadakiss or like, you know, like I guess what you would deem as traditional New York artists. But I'll listen to Future and Gunna, these guys. I feel like Southern music culturally shifted what was going on in hip hop, and I don't think it ever really shifted back. I think it just kept going in that direction.
I mean, I can definitely second that, and me and Parlay talk about this all the time. I mean, New York had a run for, I mean, what we just celebrated, 50 years of hip hop.
Yeah.
I think New York had a run for 25 years.
Yeah.
And then it transitioned to the South. And we've had a run for 25 years.
Yeah.
Right? I think where we at right now is the explosion of world music You know what I mean? The world is getting involved into hip hop and to music. But the South per se, because the South is so vast and people kind of put us all together. A lot of times when you're from the North, because when you say you're from the North, everybody just think New York. It's just New York. They don't really, they categorize everybody as New York, right? And it's like, because that's the pinnacle and the start of things. But the North is big. You know, you got Philly, and you got DC, and you know, you got so many different places. But Southern music per se has been able to create a wave and create so many different avenues from not just Atlanta, because Atlanta like exploded for the last 25 years from Outkast to JD to everybody else that came with the Franchise Boys, being Platinum Group. I mean, just everybody, right? And so you in the Futures and you know, the 21 Savages and JID. I mean, you have some of the biggest artists in the world just come from Atlanta, but then and Gunna and Lil Baby. But then you have like the Memphis crew who's came up right now, right? And Memphis exploded. And you see that with Glorilla and NLE Choppa and all those artists. And then you see Meg Thee Stallion and all the Texas people that come out. Like, it's a Texas song, like some artists going crazy right now, you know, that I've been seeing, and a lot of Texas artists. And Florida, you know, you can never forget, you know, what Florida has done. So I think, you know, the South has been able to create a different version and a different, you know, side of the culture. I think right now where we at, New York hasn't. I love New York because it's the pinnacle thing, and you see people are in need for New York because look what happened when Jay-Z just came back out, right? Everybody's like, oh my gosh, because they're waiting for that energy from New York, because without New York being a part of the conversation, it kind of seemed like a void is going on. I even heard Mano's song the other day that he's been doing for the Knicks. Like, I play that song every morning now. You know what I mean? Like, we want the New York vibe, but New York stopped collaborating. You know what I mean?
I think that's the big thing. I think Atlanta, like, and when you look at the culture down there, it's very communal. Everybody's working together. There's features. Everybody's pushing each other. It feels very collaborative.
Exactly.
Whereas New York is almost like in a silo.
Everything in silos in little pockets. Like when I moved to New York and we opened up the studio on right around the corner here on 8th and 36, like that was one thing I wanted to do, is make sure, you know, artists collaborate, because even seeing like Mano, Davies, Jim Jones, and Fabulous podcast, right? To me, that's like, oh man, that's great. Seeing them come together and collaborate in that way, it's like, wow. I wish that New York did that in music. I want that feeling back when I used to be able to see, because a lot of style came from New York. You know, everybody wanted to dress like Dipset. You know what I mean? Like a lot of, you know, crews came like, oh, they doing it, we want to do it too. You know, a lot of things came from New York, but then it seemed like there's a lot of division here that happened, and they hadn't came back together. But I feel like that's the superpower that Atlanta and the South has, that it's a lot of collaboration. And so with that collaboration, you get to merge fan groups, you get to merge people, and then it explodes even more.
You make great music. So you coming up at a time when you didn't really have to deal with a lot of the stuff that goes on now, especially like people going viral and social media and stuff like that. When stuff happened, it was like there weren't like people holding up camera phones or anything like that. Is there anything that sticks out, like any memories about So Def or the music industry that never really like saw the light of day? Because like, I mean, obviously like camera phones were out. Anything that sticks out in your memory?
I remember when we first did our deal with young Capone, which was my first artist, which was, you know, the pinnacle of like how my career started. He was about to be like a huge artist, right? We did an Access Granted with him. We were doing 106 in Park. It was like we were about to be on this whole run. He had a song called I'm Hot with Dash Dillinger. We did a So Def remix with the Brat, and the like a month or two before the whole rollout was supposed to start, Snap music came out.
Yeah.
And that changed the whole dynamic of life. Like seeing the Franchise Boys, seeing, D4L and the rest of that stuff start happening, that literally changed everything because his trajectory was like going here and then it really just stopped because everybody wanted Snap music at the time. And that kind of like, I seen that, and that was one of the moments that stuck out to me because it's like, dang, you really got to execute in your time. You really got to execute in your wave because if not, you may not get another chance for years. You may not get another opportunity. And like really even with Young Capone, like he came back out a few different iterations of his transformation, but he didn't get his like really due diligence or start to get his next wave until he changed his name to Dope Boy Raw later on, and then was part of Hustle Gang with T.I. And then people started like, oh, who is this? And they didn't know he was Young Capone, until they had to put two together. But that's a long break between him being on this run that he was starting to it stopping because the momentum shifted to recreating momentum years and years later and re-identifying yourself and being able to start a new wave. And unfortunately, untimely because, he passed away and he didn't get his full just due. Yeah. And so that was one of the things.
Sorry to hear about that. I know like how that impacted you.
Yeah, it's definitely impacted me to this day. It's not even a lot of times I could talk about him or do a lot of stuff because we were so close. He was like, my brother, that's my cousin, but he was like my brother. And so, it's a lot that, I try not to talk about because I'm still hurt about it. Yeah. But, just seeing him not being able to be, because he's one of the most talented artists Atlanta ever had, and not being able to reach the full potential because of things like timing and, the waves changing and different stuff. And then when he's supposed to get his just due, things happen. So,
So in closing, because I want to wrap with like, something actionable. You've made a lot of things happen. You are an entrepreneur, and I know you have this like, famous wife, but I think like the biggest story to me is like how you guys navigate this world of entertainment together. What advice would you give to up and coming creative, whether it be music, someone getting into film? I know amateur filmmakers who are trying to figure it out. What could they do? Like what one piece of advice could you give someone trying to navigate that right now?
Do what you say you're going to do and follow through. Like, do what you say you're going to do and follow through. I think a lot of people, like I said earlier in the interview, is like a lot of people don't execute. A lot of people are creatives these days and they have a lot of ideas, but they don't actually follow through and execute. I think you have to become really good at executing, because once you become good at executing from the smallest ideas, you'll be able to execute the bigger ideas. And that's as easy as telling your friend, like your mom, hey, I'm gonna clean up the house. But when she come home, the house isn't clean, right? You didn't execute your part of the bargain, right? Everything you say, execute it. Once that becomes consistent in your life, you'll know how to always follow through. And once you learn how to follow through, you can navigate the world better, and you'll be able to navigate any industry you get put into. And so I think executing, being consistent, and knowing where you're headed, what's your North Star, so you never lose sight of your goals. Because a lot of people, I was having a call earlier, a lot of people want to become famous. But the problem with me is when people tell me they want to be famous, they scare me. Because fame fluctuates, and fame is nothing that you can live your life on. Like my wife is famous, but she's famous because of her talent. She's famous because of the consistency that her father and mother put in, that her brother put into her. She's famous for the work that she put in. You have to have a North Star of the work you want to put in. If you want to be the best director, do everything in your power to show up as that, right? Even before you become that, show up as that in the smallest things. And that should show your trajectory. If I know you want to play basketball, you don't have to tell me you want to play basketball. I would see you dribbling a basketball outside. I would see you going to do open runs. I would see by your actions. Show people who you are. Show people who you are by your actions and not by your words. That's how you got to show up in this world. How you handle people, how you handle situations, how you handle things. That's what you have to be, and that's how you get to where you want to go.
That's awesome advice, man. Y'all spent time in Haiti when y'all were shooting the film.
The film, so they took a crew of 5 to Haiti. We didn't go to Haiti. We are planning to go to Haiti to do a screening at some point, but we didn't go to Haiti. We shot the film. The Nowhere Man in South Africa. So we was over there when we shot that. But we didn't actually, me and Naturi didn't go to Haiti yet.
How do you feel about Haitian food?
Oh, I love Haitian food.
I got a spot for you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna hook you up.
Yeah.
All right. Yo, I appreciate you coming through and sitting down with me. I'm a huge admirer of not only your wife's career, but yours. And just many more blessings, man. I really wish y'all the best, and I can't wait to see what's next.
Yes, man. I can't wait to see what's next from you and Pillars.
Yes, I'm excited, but nowhere. I want to see what happens next. Top tier.
No, most definitely. And look out for Color Book. Color Book, our feature film. We sold it to Netflix. It's coming.
Congratulations!
Out. Thank you so much.
That's so dope.
It's coming out this month, and we're doing a short, limited theatrical run in New York, Atlanta, and LA. So
I want to see you guys do more action, man. Y'all killed that.
Yeah. So we trying to touch all bases. So.
So thanks again to Lewis, and thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, and lock in for more stories like these.
Yes, sir.